The relationship between the United States and China is multifaceted, encompassing a wide range of interactions and engagements that span across various sectors and domains. It is a mix of cooperation and competition, where both nations find themselves working together on some fronts while fiercely competing on others. Economically, the two nations are deeply interdependent. The United States and China are each other's largest trading partners, with billions of dollars in goods and services exchanged annually. They also collaborate on global issues like climate change, recognizing that environmental challenges require joint efforts and shared solutions. However, there is a growing sense of rivalry that cannot be ignored. This rivalry is not just limited to economic competition, but extends to other critical areas. This rivalry encompasses trade, technology, and military power. Both nations are vying for technological supremacy, investing heavily in research and development to outpace each other. This complex dynamic raises concerns about the possibility of conflict. The geopolitical landscape is fraught with tension, and the stakes are incredibly high. The US and China are both nuclear-armed states, which adds a layer of gravity to their interactions. The presence of nuclear weapons means that any conflict could have catastrophic consequences. This reality makes any potential conflict a serious global concern. The international community watches closely, aware that the implications of a US-China conflict would be felt worldwide. The risk of miscalculation is high. In such a tense environment, even a small misunderstanding or error could escalate into a full-blown crisis. The consequences of conflict would be devastating not just for the US and China, but for the entire world. The human, economic, and environmental toll would be unimaginable. Understanding the military preparations of both sides is crucial. It provides insight into their capabilities and intentions, helping to assess the likelihood of conflict. It helps us grasp the seriousness of the situation and underscores the importance of vigilance and preparedness. It also highlights the need for diplomacy and de-escalation. Through dialogue and negotiation, there is hope that tensions can be managed and peace maintained. The US is closely observing China's military modernization. There is a particular focus on the Taiwan Strait. The US has a strategic interest in ensuring a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Taiwan is a democratic country. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory. This situation creates a potential flashpoint. The US military is enhancing its capabilities in the region. This includes deploying advanced weaponry. It also involves strengthening alliances with Japan, South Korea, and Australia. The goal is to deter Chinese aggression. The US is also focused on maintaining its military edge. This includes investments in new technologies like hypersonic missiles and artificial intelligence. China is undergoing a rapid military modernization program. It aims to become a world-class military power by 2049. China's defense budget has been steadily increasing. It invests heavily in advanced weapon systems. These include aircraft carriers, stealth fighters, and hypersonic missiles. China's military strategy is evolving. It is shifting from a focus on land-based operations to a more maritime-focused approach. This shift reflects China's growing global ambitions. It also aims to secure its interests in the South China Sea and beyond. China's military modernization has raised concerns among its neighbors and the US. The US-China rivalry has significant implications for global stability. The two countries are major players in international institutions. They are also key drivers of the global economy. Their rivalry has the potential to disrupt global trade. It could also undermine international cooperation on pressing issues. The US and China are engaged in a strategic competition for influence. This competition is playing out in various regions around the world. It includes economic investments, diplomatic efforts, and military deployments. The outcome of this competition will shape the future of the international order. Section 5: China's overseas bases. A new era? China is expanding its military presence globally. This expansion is not just limited to its immediate neighborhood but extends to various parts of the world. From Africa to the Middle East, and even parts of South America, China is making its presence felt. This global reach is a testament to China's growing influence and ambition on the world stage. It is establishing overseas bases in strategic locations. These bases are carefully chosen to maximize China's strategic advantage, ensuring they have a foothold in key regions. These locations are not random. They are part of a well-thought-out strategy to enhance China's global reach and influence. This is a notable development. The establishment of these bases marks a significant shift in China's military strategy. It is a clear indication that China is no longer content with just regional dominance, but is aiming for a more prominent global role. It marks a departure from China's traditional focus on territorial defense. Historically, China has concentrated on protecting its borders and maintaining regional stability. However, with these new overseas bases, China is signaling a shift towards a more proactive and expansive military posture. These bases are primarily intended to support non-combat operations. They serve as logistical hubs for humanitarian missions, disaster relief, and other non-combat activities. This dual-use nature of the bases allows China to project a benevolent image while also maintaining a strategic military presence. These include humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. China's involvement in these operations helps to build goodwill and strengthen its diplomatic ties with host nations. It also provides a cover for the military aspects of these bases, making them more palatable to the international community. However, these bases could potentially be used for military purposes in the future. While their current focus may be on non-combat operations, the infrastructure and strategic locations of these bases make them ideal for military use if the need arises. This development has raised concerns among U.S. strategists. They are wary of China's growing military footprint and the potential threat it poses to U.S. interests and global stability. The strategic positioning of these bases is seen as a challenge to U.S. dominance in key regions. They see it as a sign of China's growing global ambitions. China's actions are interpreted as part of a broader strategy to reshape the global order in its favor. This includes not just military expansion but also economic and political influence. The U.S. is closely monitoring the development of these bases. Intelligence agencies are keeping a watchful eye on China's activities, gathering data, and analyzing the implications of these new developments. It is assessing their potential implications for U.S. interests. The establishment of these bases could alter the balance of power in key regions, and the U.S. is keen to understand and counter any potential threats to its strategic interests. Section 6. The Taiwan Strait, a flashpoint. The Taiwan Strait is a potential flashpoint in the U.S.-China rivalry. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province. It has vowed to reunify Taiwan with the mainland. The U.S. has a long-standing commitment to Taiwan's security. It provides Taiwan with military support. Any attempt by China to use force against Taiwan would have serious consequences. It could lead to a direct military confrontation between the U.S. and China. The U.S. has been increasing its military presence in the region. It is conducting naval exercises and deploying troops. These actions are intended to deter Chinese aggression. Section 7. Nuclear risks in a Taiwan conflict. The potential for nuclear escalation is a major concern in any conflict involving the U.S. and China. Both countries possess nuclear weapons. They have sophisticated delivery systems. The use of nuclear weapons would have catastrophic consequences. It is crucial to manage the risks of escalation. The U.S. and China need to engage in dialogue. They must establish clear communication channels. This will help to avoid misunderstandings. It can also prevent miscalculations. The international community has a role to play. It can encourage dialogue and diplomacy between the U.S. and China. Section 8. Cyber warfare, a new battlefield. Cyber warfare is an increasingly important aspect of the U.S.-China rivalry. Both countries have developed sophisticated cyber capabilities. They can be used for espionage, sabotage, and disruption. Cyber attacks can target critical infrastructure. This includes power grids, financial institutions, and government networks. The U.S. and China are engaged in an ongoing cyber arms race. They are constantly developing new cyber weapons and defenses. Cyber attacks can have a significant impact on national security and economic stability. They can also undermine trust and confidence. Section 9. Conclusion. Navigating a perilous path. In this final section, we delve into the complexities and challenges that define the current state of U.S.-China relations. The U.S.-China relationship is at a critical juncture. With both nations being global superpowers, their interactions have far-reaching implications not just for themselves, but for the entire world. The two countries face a choice. They stand at a crossroads where their decisions could lead to vastly different outcomes. The path they choose will shape the future of international relations. They can choose to manage their rivalry peacefully. This would involve diplomatic efforts, mutual respect, and a commitment to resolving differences through dialogue rather than confrontation. Alternatively, they can allow it to escalate into conflict. The stakes are high, and the potential for misunderstanding or miscalculation could lead to dire consequences. The consequences of conflict would be severe. Not only would it disrupt global peace, but it would also have devastating economic impacts affecting millions of lives and destabilizing regions far beyond their borders. It is essential for both sides to engage in dialogue and diplomacy. Open communication channels can help prevent misunderstandings and build a foundation for cooperation. They must find ways to cooperate on areas of mutual interest. This includes tackling global challenges such as climate change, pandemics, and economic instability, where collaboration can lead to significant benefits for both nations and the world. The international community has a role to play in promoting stability and cooperation. Organizations like the United Nations can serve as platforms for dialogue and conflict resolution. It can encourage dialogue and diplomacy between the US and China. By fostering an environment of mutual understanding, the international community can help mitigate tensions. It can also work to build trust and confidence. Trust-building measures are crucial in ensuring that both nations feel secure and are willing to engage in meaningful negotiations. The goal is to prevent conflict and build a more peaceful and prosperous future. By choosing the path of cooperation and understanding, the US and China can lead the world towards a brighter, more stable future for all.